We will recap the movie named The Invention of Lying, 2019. In a different world, people always tell the truth, even if it's awkward. Mark, a chubby writer in his 40s, is going to meet his date. He has trouble finding her apartment in a fancy building. Finally, he finds it, knocks, and a pretty lady opens the door. Because people always tell the truth, she says Mark is early and she was masturbating. Mark responds strangely, saying her comment makes him think of intimate things. He introduces himself and asks how she's feeling. She says she's frustrated, depressed, and not excited about their evening plans. Her name is Anna. She asks Mark to wait as she finishes getting ready, which might involve more private stuff. Mark waits on the sofa, feeling awkward. They chat, and Mark feels embarrassed about the restaurant he booked. He thinks it's not good enough. He explains his financial situation and that he might lose his job soon. Anna comes downstairs, smiling. Mark stands up, and Anna says she just did something intimate. Mark responds strangely again, saying it turns him on and he hopes they'll have sex later. Anna is honest, saying she doesn't find him attractive and asks if they can leave. They head to the restaurant. Anna talks to her mom on the phone and insults Mark in front of him. She says he's not good-looking, not rich, and a bit overweight. Their dinner ends awkwardly with Anna saying she won't sleep with him or even kiss him. Anna's glasses are empty, and the waiter brings the bill. He asks if Anna would call him if he gave her his number, and she says no. In the next part, Mark and Anna stop by Anna's apartment building. Mark thanks Anna for going on the date. He tells her he knows he's not as good as her and that she went out with him as a favor to her friend Greg. He thinks he probably won't hear from her again. Anna replies that she had a better time than expected but needs to be sober to know how she truly feels. Mark suggests Anna call him the next day if she still likes him. Mark leans in for a kiss, but Anna kisses his cheek and goes inside. Mark thanks her happily for the kiss. The next day, Mark goes to work. He arrives at the office building, and a tour group passes by. The tour guide introduces Mark as one of their screenwriters, but adds that he's one of the least successful and might get fired today. After some awkward conversations at work, Mark's boss reluctantly fires him because his movies from the 1300s were boring and unappealing. Mark feels humiliated, especially when Brad Kessler, a successful writer, insults him. Brad says he always disliked Mark and that Mark was a bad writer assigned to a bad time in history. However, Brad admits he was threatened by Mark's uniqueness. Mark leaves the office in shame. The next morning, Mark wakes up to his usual alarm at 7:30 a.m. There are loud knocks on his door from his landlord, who wants the rent money. Mark tries to explain that he got fired from work and has only $300 left in his bank account, but the landlord insists he pays the full $800 or moves out. Feeling really embarrassed and desperate, Mark goes to the bank to close his account and take out whatever money he has left. But the bank system is down, and the teller asks Mark how much he wants to withdraw. In that moment, something changes in Mark. He gets an idea and his face turns red. He looks at the teller and confidently says he wants to withdraw $800. The system comes back online, and the teller gives him $800 in big bills. Mark leaves the bank, nervous but also smiling. He realizes he just lied and got away with it. He decides to pay his rent to his puzzled landlord, who asks where he got the money. Mark lies again, saying he found it on the street. The next day, Mark is at the bar with his friend Greg, having drinks. He's trying to tell Greg about something he came up with, but he struggles to find the right words. Instead, he just says he said something that wasn't true. Greg doesn't really understand what a lie is, so he shrugs it off. Feeling frustrated because he can't explain, Mark decides to make up a lie to Greg and the bartender. He tells them his name is Doug, and they believe him without questioning. Mark continues with more lies, saying he's different things like being black, an Eskimo, a pirate, a lion tamer with a wig, the inventor of the bicycle, and a one-armed German explorer named Reagan. The bartender and Greg believe all these lies, which disappoints Mark even more. Mark then asks them what they would do if they could make the world how they wanted it. They both say they would want to touch women's bodies and have sex. Mark reluctantly agrees, gets up, and leaves the bar. He walks outside like he's searching for something. He spots a beautiful blonde walking towards him. She walks past him, but Mark stops her and tells her the world will end unless they have sex right away. She agrees out of fear, and they go to a motel. But Mark's guilty conscience kicks in, and he pretends to call NASA, saying the world isn't ending and everyone's safe. This marks the start of Mark's journey into lying, using it to his advantage in different situations. He prevents a police officer from arresting his friend Greg for drunk driving as they head to the casino to cheat and make money. He convinces the officer that Greg is not drunk, and they're let off the hook. Inside the casino, Mark cheats at the roulette table, changing his bets to match the winning number, and gets away with it. He then tricks a casino manager into thinking he won a jackpot on a slot machine, which leads to a lot of chips and money. Later, Mark has a heart-to-heart with his neighbor Frank, who is contemplating suicide. Mark talks him out of it, offering support and hope. Realizing he can use lies for positive purposes, Mark starts performing good deeds. He helps a homeless man, encourages a reluctant woman to go to work, and reconciles a quarreling couple at a coffee shop. He even brings smiles to the faces of elderly residents in a care home by talking to them. During a hangout with Frank, they enjoy beer and TV, creating a bond. Mark convinces Anna to go on another date with him and stumbles upon a documentary praising Brad Kessler's work. This sparks an idea for a new screenplay about aliens invading the 14th century and wiping people's memories. Mark pitches it to his old boss and lecture films, and they enthusiastically embrace the concept. The film becomes a blockbuster success. Despite achieving incredible wealth and fame beyond his wildest dreams, Mark's happiness is still elusive. Although he managed to convince Anna to go out with him again, she still rejects him because of his looks. Then, in a sad twist of fate, Mark receives a phone call during his date with Anna. His mom, Martha, has had a heart attack and is in the hospital. Mark rushes to the hospital room, where he finds his mother connected to many machines, looking tired and scared. She opens up to him, admitting her fear of dying and the thought of eternal nothingness. Mark, overwhelmed with emotion, tries to comfort her. He tells her that she's mistaken about the endless nothingness after death. In an attempt to offer hope, Mark paints a picture of a beautiful afterlife. He talks about how everyone will have their own mansions, the chance to reunite with loved ones, and the absence of pain or sorrow. He assures his mother that she'll be young again, surrounded by love, laughter, and happiness. Martha listens to his words, and a tear of hope sparkles in her eye. As Martha peacefully passes away, Mark's words provide her with a sense of comfort and optimism during her final moments. After his mother's passing, Mark's thoughts on death make him famous all over the world. The nurses who were present when Martha passed away spread the word about the comforting things he said to her. This news quickly spreads, and people begin to see Mark as a kind of prophet or religious figure. With Anna's support, he creates 10 rules for leading a good life to ensure a positive afterlife. Mark claims he talks to a powerful being in the sky who rewards people in the afterlife if they do no more than 3 bad things. This televised event turns Mark into a global sensation and leads to the birth of a new religion. Even though Mark is now famous and successful, he still struggles with his own feelings of happiness and his talent for lying. During a date with Anna at the park, she asks Mark if being rich and famous would make their future children more attractive. Despite his inclination to lie, Mark chooses honesty because he cares for Anna deeply. His truthful answer prompts Anna to continue dating Brad Kessler, Mark's rival. Brad's jealousy and cruel behavior, such as controlling Anna's diet, cause discomfort, but she still agrees to marry him. As time passes, Mark's appearance becomes more biblical, with long hair and a beard. One morning in his mansion, Anna visits him and shares her busy schedule. She reveals her upcoming wedding plans and hands Mark an invitation. Mark's initial reaction is to wave it away, but he listens as Anna explains that she's marrying Brad due to his good genes and financial stability. She wants to have children and the family she's always dreamed of. She adds that one day, she'll grow old, wrinkled, and unattractive. Mark responds quickly, telling Anna that he won't find her ugly and that he'll always see her as beautiful. Anna becomes emotional and speechless, not knowing how to respond. Mark's words leave her confused. After a few moments, Anna asks him to take the invitation. Mark accepts, bidding her farewell and wishing her a nice life as she walks out of the mansion, tears in her eyes. Later in the same day, Anna is at the park and notices a chubby boy enjoying some ice cream. It reminds her of what their potential kids might look like, with half of their genetics coming from Mark. Unfortunately, the other kids start bullying the boy for being overweight. Anna steps in to help and talks to the boy, assuring him that he's much more than his appearance. She calls him by his name, Brian, and gives him a warm smile. On the morning of Anna's wedding, Greg convinces Mark that he still has a chance to win Anna's heart. Mark decides to attend Anna and Brad's wedding. During the ceremony, Mark objects to the marriage, but he's told that only the man in the sky has the power to stop it. Brad and Anna ask Mark to ask the man in the sky for advice on what Anna should do. However, Mark refuses, wanting Anna to make her own decision. Anna walks out of the wedding and Mark confesses his unique ability to lie. Anna is puzzled by the idea at first, but eventually admits her love for Mark. In the end, Anna and Mark are seen happily married, sharing a meal together. They have a son who seems to have inherited his father's gift for lying. The chubby boy from earlier, now with a little snub nose, clearly shows this ability as he tells Anna that their meal is delicious even though both he and his father know it's not. Mark playfully encourages his son to finish his food and tells Anna that their son really loves it.